No.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc, kicking with the homie Mike. We're car fanatics, and the car culture is something we've been involved in for years. Both of us are big muscle car heads, but we also like exotics, JDM, everything you name in between. But we wanted to provide something we think is lacking in social media, and that's um, the essence of the car passion and the hobby and what you go through building a car. Crazy stories, a lot of crazy stories with different shops, and you know, one little build turns into a big build and all that stuff. But we want to introduce ourselves first, so I'll let Mike go first and introduce himself and kind of give you guys a little background on him.
Yeah, my name is Mike Escobar. I'm from Frisco, Cali, 415. I've been into muscle cars since I was shoot. Let me blast my page real quick. I'm on YouTube, Esco Elite Mindset. Follow, like, subscribe, comment. But man, I've been in this car game since I can remember, man. And I'll tell you how I got into it, how I really got passionate about cars. Well, I grew up in the neighborhood of Mission District of San Francisco, and my parents, I don't know how we would go to the Mission on the weekend, but I see all kinds of lowriders as a kid. And I was fascinated, like, damn, look at those cars, man. They look so fucking cool. Look at these people cruising. They look so happy, and everybody just it looked like a good time. And that really sparked my interest in cars right there. It was a lowriding scene.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in Sacramento, and moved around a lot, but my grandfather, he collected 60s Mustangs. So, at any given time, he was always tinkering on one, and they all ran. He had a 65, a 66, a 67, a 68,
Wow.
and I want to say maybe 266, but he had everything from the 289 with a 3-speed. He gave me a 68 with a 6-cylinder and drum brakes all the way around. That thing was scary, man. No power steering.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was kind of a Ford guy out the box.
I see. Of course.
We didn't have any Chevys, and then he had a couple Cadillacs. So yeah, cars has always been in my blood, man. And it wasn't until I got older to where I could really appreciate that I really started getting down in the game.
Yeah, that's crazy though. How we all like have a certain brand that we align with. For me, it's Chevy, and it's easy to guess why. Impala. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite cars to this day. I'm one that I got away from me that I had at one point in my life before I had to go on vacation was a 63 Impala. I love the body lines. I love how long they are. I love how they cruise. So I've always been a Chevy guy, man. But my actual favorite muscle cars, I gotta say, are Camaros, because they used to be this baller homies. When I was a kid, these dudes were ballers, bro, in the game. They would pull up in 67, 68 Camaros, and I used to tease them as a kid, like, look, I'm gonna give me one of those when I get old. They laugh at me. I go, those are dope. They pull up to the ball to the rec center, play hoops, and they always pull up in their Camaros, and I fell in love with them, man, just off the bag. And I told myself one day I'm gonna have one. I don't know when, but one day I'm gonna have one of those. Even though I love lowriders first, I was into the lowrider scene, hydraulics, cruising. The culture. I'm Latino, Mexican,
Okay.
so I was into that first. But as I got older, I'm more of a need for speed kind of guy, bro. I love power, speed, and power. And I like that low. I love how muscle cars have changed over the years, evolved, how they sit low, but they have the speed and power. They have that mean look. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been a Chevy guy. But I
So
love all brands.
when was your first car show experience?
Shoot. All right, let me rewind. So I think it was around 18. So 1993, I got a Cutlass Supreme. Probably when I was around 19 years old or so, I joined a car club called Uso Car Club. They were just barely blowing up out of SoCal, out of San Pedro area. They happened to open up a chapter in Frisco. We're the first chapter at the time. And I was just cruising. Simone, dude named Rich, just kind of like pulled me over, was like, yo, what's up, kid? You like to ride? Yeah, yeah. I'm opening up a chapter of Uso out here. Well, shit, I'm down, man. I just want to fit in. Let's go. So probably somewhere between 19 and 20 years old, I went to my first car show. I can't remember if it was in San Jose or San Francisco. But actually, I'm lying. Let me rewind a little bit. Sorry, I skipped over a few parts. Actually, the first car show I went to was around 16 years old. I didn't have a car yet. It was at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds. I don't know if you remember that show in San Jose. It was huge because San Jose had a huge lowriding community, super lit out here. So it was around 15 to 16 years old when I first went. I went really to hit on the girls and check out the cars because it was popping like that out here.
I think my first really car show experience where I seen cars and the power as far as like the attraction with, like you said, the females and the ballers. I went to it was Black Family Day in UC Davis. This was back in like 87. And man, Too Short was popping back then. It was, who else was popping back there? Two Live Crew. It was I think NWA, but NWA wasn't even popping yet. It was Too Short was popping, and I want to say MC Shan. It was all the old school rap. Eric B. and Rakim. I remember MC Shan was from the East Coast. Mm-hmm. He was from Miami. MC Shan, and they were bumping. So me, I didn't even have a car at the time. I rode it through the homie at Davis, and they had dudes pulling in from like Oakland. I'm talking about Cadillac on Venus and Vogues, 66 Mustangs, 68 Mustangs on Dayton's and white walls. And then you had the Richmond boys. They coming through clowning. Then you have the Vallejo dudes with the cutlasses and some of them with the the Le Mans, and then you had dudes from EPA. Now the EPA back then was like dope mecca. It's like dope. EPA had ballers, and dude, the EPA dudes. You remember when the Mustang 5.0 came out, the drops, and they were super popular among all the D-boys back in the day.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, well,
oh yeah.
EPA came to the car show. They must have had, dude, no joke. There must have been like maybe 12, 15 Mustang 5.0s, but they put in the front was the Mustangs like with center lines, low profiles or inkies, and then behind them was the Zeniths and Vogues and the drops, and then behind them was the Daytons and Vogues. I've never seen dudes balling that hard like with the self. I'm like, these dudes are clowning, bro.
Oh, damn. EPA dudes?
EPA, I'm talking about these brothers. Dude, their car crew was so, everybody's shit is tight. And then you have some dudes from SAC, like in the South area, they had the Lowriders, they had like the Paulas, the 65s, 64s, 60, 66. I mean, dude, I seen all the cars and I'm broke. I'm running around there. I'm like, damn, I gotta give me some money, man.
Yeah,
that showed me like cars, man. It's like, I'm like, I just got the cars. Is just from there. I was like, I got to get in the cars.
You're hooked. Once you see it, you see energy, you see how happy and prideful these dudes are. Then, of course, I'm sure you've seen the ladies with them. You're like, God damn, these dudes are just doing it, man. You can just smell it. And you're like, I want to be like these cats, man. They're doing it. This lifestyle of this car game is it's big camaraderie. And that's what I love about it. We all come together, you know what I'm saying, for the love of the car game. That's what I love. I notice that. Everybody's like, tight-knit family, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's almost missing that nowadays a little bit. I don't know if it's the same nowadays or what, but
do you remember the mini truck scene?
Oh, hell yeah. Of course I do.
Remember the mini trucks with the 15s and the bed of the truck and the truck beds that danced around?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine's cousin, he had a mini truck that was dropped. Remember when they used to cut them, make them drops?
Yeah.
So he took the top off. He had the whole bed done up. It was gold, and it was sitting on center lines and low profiles. And on the back, he had the chrome. Remember, they could put your little nickname. He had Jealousy on the back. Yeah. And he rolled around. I'm like, man, he had a Jerry curl. He was beat. And I'm like, dude,
the whole truck was full of beat. Back then, it was all
you would hear the beat before the car came.
Oh yeah, slapping. That shit was crazy back then, how much we were into beat. I remember I was a beat head too. I was always into beat to slap. Now, it's okay to have some slap in your car, but I don't need it to blow my eardrums off like back in those days.
Well, too, remember the difference with good beat and bullshit is if you got to rattle. If your shit didn't rattle, you got to have that, what I'm saying, that solid hit. You spend some money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, you're gonna have to fiberglass it. I don't know what they used back then because now they use sound deadeners and
Yeah.
obviously the game has evolved. They do use what you call it? What's that material called, man? What I just say?
Dynomat or the
They use
sound.
Dynamat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dead and stuff, but they always use like that fabrication where they fabricate it too, so it's solid in there.
What was the first car that you really dumped money into and felt like, okay, I've actually customized a car, and this is like, something I'm like, I'm a rock.
The first car, because I've had quite a few cars. I've had a Cutlass. I dumped some money. You know, I did what I could. You know, put a little. What I put like some gold roadsters, triple cold ghost. Remember
So
those?
okay, put it this way: the first car you really like. I'm not saying like how we're talking now, but like you do rims and paint.
I would say the '83 Oldsmobile because I put hydraulics. I put some ghost graphics over the paint, and I put some triple gold roasters over there. Oh, and I put a velour top. Remember the velour top?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
The little buttons, and I had little buttons that dipped. They I can't remember the process, but gold buttons around. So it looks like it's a fake convertible, basically, but it's a velour top.
Okay.
I was a little proud of that car. That wasn't obviously my best car, but for back then, that was that. You know, I thought I was the shit with that car. For my age, I was a young dude, like 20 years old, with the hydros. You know, the rims.
Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
my first car, it was a 69 Cougar XR7.
Oh, the big body.
Yeah, the big body.
The big body, yeah.
I did a paint. First, I went to get the car. I picked it up. I dropped it off. I was just gonna get the car just running good, and then I do a shift kit. Had the motor refreshed, tranny refreshed. Remember back in the day, shift kit. You be thinking with the shift kit.
I haven't heard that in years. A shift kit. That's so cool.
Shift kit, bro. I put a shift kit.
Flow Masters.
Flow Masters. Yep, I put the Flow Masters. I did a paint, a candy blue paint. It had a white top, and I put 6x9s. I put 210s in the trunk, and I put some what are those? The old school spokes. It wasn't. They were like roasters kind of spokes, with the little knockoffs on them. And
that's
man,
that's what I had. The one with the center cap. They're not
yeah.
They're not Danes, they're not Zeniths, but the roasters.
Yeah.
I had those. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I had those. But those were dope. I mean, they were dope.
Yeah, those were dope. I mean, I was proud of that car, man. I mean, I drove that car around Sacramento, man. Drove it to the LA. It was a cool ride.
Let me ask you something, because compared to now, you got to be making stupid fucking money to flip a car now. But what'd you pay for your candy paint back then? Because now what they go for is like house down payment for a house.
Oh, dude,
they're talking 30, 50 grand is retarded now for a paint job.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing shit like you're gonna take to like SEMA 50 racks, you know what I mean? So back then, remember back then they had a couple little shops like they would have. I didn't go to Earl Shy, but I went to some other one day paint. You know what they call them one day. Some of them spots, and you would get like
they had
the base was $7.99 and $1,200. You got the little 2-step or a step up, and then for $1,500 you got like, and then $2,000 you got like some shit.
Yeah.
So, but I can't remember, man. It wasn't. I mean, from back then I must have thought it was some shit, but maybe when I paid like maybe 2 G's for the paint.
Damn.
1,800 back then, but I mean. Dude, that paint in Sacramento Sacramento wasn't. I was clowning.
Oh yeah,
sure. I was clowning.
You had a win. You had rims, you had beat, you had paint. You know what I'm saying? Did you have material or stock?
I had, but the interior was so clean because they had the blue leather. Yeah. Because the XR7s had the leather and it had the wood grain. Yeah. Yep. So the interior was like everything was original, but it was clean. Carpet was clean. Blue. It had AC in that thing. I mean, dude, it was clean. It was clean, man. And
I wish you still had it?
Yeah, that car, that's the first car I kind of really dumped money into and fixed up. And then, and then I kind of like kicked the bug off, Yeah. And I didn't really know back then, like, I had a 351, but I didn't know about doing the heads and headers and cam, and I didn't know about all that.
No. Neither did I. I didn't know nothing about motors. I just knew, like, for a lowrider, for like a Cutlass, you just want a V6. You don't want a V8 because you want it light. Even Impalas, if you had an Impala and you're lowriding, you want 283, 327, 350 at the most. You don't want no big block. You don't want it heavy because you want that front to lift up. So it ain't like today. Like now, we want the best of the best. We want big ass motor, heads, cam. You know what I'm saying? Supercharger, all that shit weighs your shit down.
So how did you get more from low riding into speed?
So that's a good question. So I got into low riding. My teenage years, I went to a lot of shows. I didn't have a car. I just went as a spectator, have fun, try to pick up the girls. Eventually, I got my lowrider. I didn't last too long. My lowriding like days were very short lived. I say up until about I was 21, I kind of just got burnt out on it. Wasn't feeling it no more because I started getting into the nightlife, the party scene. I was 21 and up, so I started going to the clubs. I'm a you know what I'm saying. I got an addiction for ladies, so I'd always want to go with the ladies, and the nightclubs were popping. Back then, especially the city, man. The city had all the popping nightclubs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I got into that. Then a few years after that, I got rid of my lowrider. I got a 5.0, a 1993 GT.
Okay.
That was a fun little car, man. I love that Mustang. Look, you see, those are making a comeback now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're starting to fix a lot of aftermarket stuff for them now.
Yeah, yep. So I had that, and then hold on, let me rewind. I almost forgot. I had a '63 Impala. That's right. I got rid of the Cutlass. Had a '63 Impala. Had that. I was kind of working on it in and out while I had the Mustang, but I still wasn't like. I was 50-50 about the lowrider game. Once I got the Mustang, man, I started loving the speed. Those things were quick, like little rocket ships. I put
Yeah, yeah.
on there. I had 212s on there. I had 17s were a big deal. I can't remember the name of the brand of the rims I had on there. It was all black. I just thought I was a shit young dude, my 5.0. And those motherfuckers were runners, man. They were fun little cars. You remember those? They were cool cars for that era.
Yep.
That was around 1998 or so that I got that car. Yeah, I was about 23. So I kind of got more into Need for Speed. I had fun with that. Then I had an Infinity. I went all completely different. My boy had an Infinity J30. I bought it off of him. I was kind of had some paper because I was in that whole 90s rave ecstasy scene. So I was making money in that game. And so I got that car and I flipped it completely. I put a pearl white paint job with like a gold pearl in there. I had 18s on there. That was a big deal. Fuck, I was like one of the first dudes in the bay with the rims, but I had TVs in the headrests and the visors. I was one of the first dudes coming in the bay. Floating speakers, 310s, JL audio amps. It was all custom. So I'm a custom head, man. And I actually went to a Euro show where they sponsored me just to show the beat off because it was so clean. Okay. So I kind of took it a little weird turns in the car game.
It's funny that, because when you're a car head, you can kind of jump back and forth. I mean, I've always loved old schools, but then there was a time I kind of jumped in like Euros too. So I jumped back and forth with the Euros and the and the old schools. I think for myself, the speed. I remember. I think the first car I had, I think that was fast. The Cougar was cool, but then I got an '85 Vet. And it wasn't really nothing, Crossfire. But back then,
you had a 350 in it, right?
Yeah, tune port, and it seemed fast for back then.
Yeah. For back then,
so back then, so I had that, and then I took a vacation, and then when I got out of my vacation, the whole time I was on vacation, I just fantasized about cars. I look at the DuPont Register, Hemmings. I would think about all these different cars and think about like, man, if I got these cars, what would I flip? What would I drive?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And when I got out, I think when I got out, what I get? I had got an old 70-something 500 SEO Mercedes. And because I told myself, I said, when I get out, I'm having certain standards. I'm not driving a bucket, but I got a bucket ass Mercedes and I drove that. And then the homie, he was from San Jose. He had a shop. He had a Cadillac sitting at the shop. And he's like, dude, you can get my Cadillac and make payments. So I went from the Benz to the Cadillac.
Okay. What kind of Cadillac was it?
It was like a 90, maybe like a 92, 94 Sedan DeVille. Big mob. Yes, big mob car.
Big ass mob car. Yeah.
Sitting on 20s. Yep. I had that for a minute, and then I went from that to I had a 94 V6 Camaro, and then I got into flipping cars. And then I think from that Camaro, I got
you started evolving a little bit.
Yeah, I started evolving, man. I started stepping my car game up. Back in was this like 09, 010? Remember Craigslist was popping.
Yes, it was. Hella
Remember
popping. Right?
Craigslist? You can get good deals.
Craigslist, yup.
Yeah. So Craigslist, I went on there and I got a 92. The first really nice car I had, I want to say like maybe a 92, maybe 93, 94 S500 Benz. And once I got in there, I'm like, damn, it wasn't super expensive, but it was just for what you paid for your bang for your buck, the luxury was just like top notch.
Smooth. Oh yeah, smooth.
It was smooth. So I popped one of those. And then I got a 68 Cougar, flipped that. And then I got I think for the Benz, I think I ended up getting you remember the 90, I think I had with a 91, 92 BMW 840s.
Yep. Kind of a weird body type. I do.
Up headlights. It's
Yeah.
kind of sleek. I
Sleek,
have one of
that's right.
those.
Yep.
And then I just started popping cars, man. But in the back of my mind, I always liked, once I drove something kind of fast, I always had a need to get back to a fast car. So I always try to have something fast in
Yeah.
my little collection.
Yeah. Because again, you got a need for speed too, man. We both got that. Like we got.
What was the fastest car that you say that you had thus far that you're like, damn, you know what I mean? Like you compare all your other cars to?
Currently,
Or like going back, like between the cars, like for myself, once I drove, I had a 04 E55 Mercedes AMG, and that thing was a beast. It was, I mean, it's probably like 500 something horsepower with the pulley setup, but it was quick. It had instant torque, and that car, it handled, and it was a sleeper. It looked like a grocery getter, but it was fast.
yeah. Did it have so it was the AMG, right?
AMG was supercharged.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's
yeah,
why. Them
supercharged.
things for that era, they're killing everybody. They're
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. That car, I mean, it looks like a regular car, 4-door, but dude, you get on it, and like when I went to look at the car, the guy took me for a ride, and I was like, oh shit, and that right there, it hooked me.
Yeah. For me, it took me a while, man, to get into something for speed because when I got out on vacation, eventually I got me a truck, an Avalanche. So I was a truck guy. Not that I was a truck guy, but I liked this app. For some reason, I wanted an Avalanche. I don't know. I loved it. I don't know what got in my head about it. I enjoyed it. Probably because I knew I'd be going to the lake. I was kind of a lake rat. I had a lot of boys with boats and lake, and we always go to the lake. And I knew someday maybe I'd have a boat, which I did. That's a whole nother story. But eventually I had a power boat. So I was in that game for a little bit. Again, all pumped up, power boat. All I have is Sue Delta. So again, it's taking weird turns. But my fastest car up to date currently, I haven't had it back yet. I would say when I get it back, it's probably the 69 Camaro. But currently it's my Z01, my 2013 Z, because I pumped that thing up to. I'm currently making close to 800, over 800 to the rear wheels on E85. So
Okay.
that thing's a monster.
Actually, I jumped because before I had the Benz, I had a Porsche 911 flat nose that was based on a 912 Porsche, and that thing had a 383 stroker in it. And dude, the
snappy little motor.
Oh man, dude! I mean, in first gear, dude, I would eat up Lambos, Corvettes. I mean, it was so light, and I would drop the clutch, and that thing was like, dude, see ya, I'll be gone.
Gone.
I mean, it's quick.
What kind of gears did you have in the rear end?
Well, you know what? I don't know what was in there because I bought the car and I got it running. It needed some work, but it had a 915 tranny in it, and that tranny, it couldn't hold the torque. So I blew the tranny out like twice, and then that made me sell the car. And it kind of had some, I was trying to figure out how to keep it cool because, the motor's in the back. And for that car, the radiator's in the front. And by the time it circulates the car in traffic, in LA traffic, it would heat up. So I'd be in traffic. I'm like, fuck, stop and go. And it'd be heating up. But like just going to car shows, and then I had 215s in the back of that thing. I had 2 6x9s, 2 mids, 2 highs. Dude, it would beat. I pulled the windows down. Oh my god, dude, it'd be beating.
Blowing your eardrums out. 215s, man. You don't see that much anymore. You don't see 215s. You might see like 212s the most, 210s. Yeah. It's a different era now. People ain't truly trying to slap. The only thing I think of this era right now is trying to slap hard is the donks. The donks be putting hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the downtown boys, they still doing they still spending thousands on beat. You know,
they do their trunk, they do the whole
and
inside, and they do their grill.
The lifted trucks is doing it too. The lifted trucks.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they go to the river and they bumping out there with the trucks and stuff clowning.
Yeah. So, what these dudes are doing different than our areas, they're putting fucking slap in the grill, bro. Where the shit's fucking loud. You hear them coming. Yeah. Not just the bass coming, but it's loud. Like, what the fuck is that music?
Well, coming? Too, they also, which they had just started doing. I think when I was doing that, they put like all the lighting. So you got the ambient lighting matching the beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like pretty sick. You know?
Yeah. So now 2024. I got hooked, but I'll rewind a little bit. I would say what got me into muscle cars though of recent, because I'm trying to think when the hell did I get into muscle cars? So where we at? 2024. I would say around 2010 or so. I think I started watching Meekum, bro. I started watching Meekum a lot, and I was like, "Ooh, shit! I want me a muscle car." I'm digging.
What was your first muscle car?
Huh?
What would you consider your first muscle car?
Well, Mustang's not really considered a muscle car. So my first that I bought, like when I came home and started doing well and getting money, was a 68 Camaro with a little 350 in it. Bought it over the hill. Little blue. It was fun though. Yeah. And again, I got inspired by like watching Mika, man, watching those goddamn auctions. I was like, ooh, I need me one of those. And then I started seeing more and more muscle cars and hearing about meetups. And I was like, yeah, I want to go to these things, man. You know? So, and I was, like I said, from a kid, I was visioning that I wanted a Camaro. But it got away from me for so many years until I started like watching Meekum, and it kind of re-inspired me. Like, ooh, shit, I like this, you know.
I think for me, living in SoCal and seeing the car scene out there. I mean, there's so many different ranges. I mean, you have, you got Porsches, which is people. That's a whole nother genre. Then you have supercars. Then you have the muscle car scene. Have this, hypercar scene, but. Let me see. What can I think? I think it might have been like I went to Barrett Jackson the first time and I was blown away.
So where were you living at when you came home from vacation?
I was living down in I was in LA in the Valley. So like the North Hollywood area. Okay. And the thing about LA is like the car culture is so big.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you pull up in a gas station and you got some, hey man, I mean, dude, people be getting at you, bro. What you got up in there? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's just very fanatical. People treat their cars are like extensions of your personality.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's what my wife says. She says, you're meant to be in the muscle car scene. You look like fuck. You always get teased. You look like Vin Diesel and muscle cars. And I just love muscle cars. I was a kid, But again, I have a soft spot for lowriders. But for me, I can't do the low and slow thing. I got to do low and fast. It's not. Yeah. I like power. I like horsepower. I like to feel that torque. And again,
it's different. It's like when we go to the quarantine cruise, and you see all the different cars, and when you hear those cars driving by, you're standing there like the rumble of the sound. It's different than when you see the supercars go by. It's a different vibe. It is. And the cars have souls. Like when you take if you had a Ford Galaxy and you put air ride with a 427 in it, and you got you got a whatever transmission in it, it's like you got the way you did your car. Then you got a guy over here with a C10 truck that's got an LS in it. I mean, everybody has their own little kind of like how they did their car,
Yeah, everybody has their spin on it, which is cool. Everybody has their own vision, their own spin. Again, I think supercars are badass too. I like them, but you're buying them from the dealer. It's not. I mean, you're putting maybe an exhaust, might turn it up a little bit, some wheels, maybe a wrap. Ain't nothing like a muscle car though, bro. Especially guys who build it from the ground up and really put a vision into it, like from paint to the horsepower, to the suspension, to the interior. You know how it is. It's just a different vibe. And let me tell you something. This is one thing I do know. Because I live not too far from Santana Road. And Santana Road is kind of hoity-toity, high-end. You got Lambos as far as I go out there. But you pull up on a muscle car and you park that motherfucker out there, man, people flock to it. It's just a different respect.
When you're 6'9", when you had your 6'9" before you put it back in the shop and you drive, just go get gas, bro, it's a show. You know what I mean? Dude, can you pop your hood? Can you pop your hood? That's the thing about a muscle car, you want to see what's underneath the hood.
Yeah, exactly. People get excited, ask me to rev it, thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? It's a different vibe, man. I even met cops one time. I remember I'm jamming San Jose, and I'm like, I just happened to spot some motorcycle cops, and they're just like, "Damn, thank you." You know
Dude,
what
I,
I'm
I
saying?
was I was in Malibu and at a car show, and I had my '72 Chevelle before I put it back in the shop. And a cop was there. I was like in a Starbucks parking lot. He blocked traffic, got out, had me pop my hood. We're chopping it up. People are honking. He's like, man, go around me. You know what I mean? He's like, we're chopping it up. He's like, man, I'm doing a 69 Chevelle. What do you think about this? What kind of suspension? And I'm giving him pointers. Dude, it's like cars, muscle cars especially, it transcends everything. You
It
know,
does.
where you're from, your
Yeah,
race, the
doesn't
culture.
matter.
It
Mhm.
doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter.
I mean, look, man, look where we first met up. Was the well, I first did the first interview with you on your other channel, and then we went to the quarantine cruise. It was all walks of life, everything
Yeah.
you can think of. There's no, what religion are you? What race are you? Where are you from? There's none of that. Everybody's there for the love of the game, bro. We showed up deep. We showed up, showed out. Everybody was from everywhere. I mean, fuck, I don't know if Kevin Hart showed up to that one. Kevin Hart's part of that community. Kevin Hart's a big time celebrity. That says a lot. Like, we got celebrities in our community. I love the game. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
says a lot right there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I've been going. The last one I went to was probably 2 months ago. But dude, what's so cool is that there's no animosity. Everybody's having a good time. It's a
Yep.
family atmosphere. You meet a lot of cool people from all over, and when you talk to these guys and it makes me feel better about my build because I talk to guys and are like, man, I've been working on this for 5 years. I've been working on this for 6 years. Very few people have got their car done in like 18 months.
No, it's rare. No, I got lucky the first time. So I got my Camaro. I bought my '69 Camaro. I bought it from Cabot. I think that's how you say it. Cabot, Cabot, Arkansas, dog. I went all the way to Arkansas, a little bit outside of Little Rock. It was weird going out there, bro. Let me tell you something. I've been out of state, but Arkansas was weird. So I bought my car out there, had to ship back to Cali, rode around with it for like a day or so. Motor was no good. I didn't vet it correctly. I'm so stupid. The dude was, when he was showing me the car, he wasn't giving the gas really. So I didn't hear the knock. So when we got it back,
Oh,
I immediately put in the shop in Sacramento. Now I had already paid him, so it's too late to do anything. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. I had some bread. So I was like, all right, I told the dude out in Sacramento, Gear Head Garage. I was like, my boy Jason, I say, hey, man, let's fix this thing up. Let's put some wheels on it, get rid of the stocks. Let's put some let's build up the motor. Let's do some little bit of things and just freshen it up. So I freshened it up a little bit. And he did it quick. And it turned into freshen it up to like little entry SEMA build, which I made it to SEMA like in about a year or some change. It was quick. Got it painted fast. We got some interior in there pretty quick. Uh, did the motor, did it up quick. I mean, it was fast the way we put it together. I got lucky, but it wasn't all the way done, but it was done just enough so I could be in the ARC audio booth at SEMA. So I got to display that SEMA outside on the ARC audio booth, which is pretty
what,
cool.
what year was that?
Oh, hold on, let me think back. 10 years. So it would be 2014.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, you've been going to SEMA for a minute then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 2014. I had gone to SEMA a few years before that. That's what inspired me. When I went to SEMA and I saw the builds there, I go, that took me to the next level. Like, that's what I want. Pro Turn. I like these cars the way they're built because there was nothing around there like that. So I said,
SEMA,
oh,
SEMA kind of it kind of jades you because once
oh,
you see
man,
SEMA shit, you're
dude.
like, man, you're like, it's hard to not do like go over the top on anything. You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
you start
yeah.
looking at SEMA, you look at like control arms, you look at
Yes.
brake kits, you look
Yes.
at
Big break. Yep.
you look at like okay, steering setup. Do you go quick steering box or rack and pinion? Then you look
Yes.
at okay, what tranny? Then you start looking at what engine and
Yep.
supercharged turbo or
Yeah.
it's like, dude, I go to SEMA, I'm like, God, man, it's like it like makes me I get almost anxiety because I think about my car like you want to keep up with your game. Like what else? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
SEMA's next level, bro. I mean,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
cars there that are, in my opinion, shitting on supercars, but they're one offs.
Yeah. And I met, that's when I first, I didn't meet him, but that's when the first year He's a friend of mine on Instagram to this day. My boy Angelo Vespi had that 69 Camaro. He won Battle of Builders, Detroit Speed Building, that white one. And back then, I want to say he put about half a ticket in there, so or 600. He told me, and that was cream de la creme back then. Now you fast forward to today's SEMA, these dudes are dropping a million. Like Steve, East Bay Muscle Car. That's my guy, the owner of East Bay Muscle. That Mustang was in SEMA list last year. That Burgundy one, 1.2 milli, bro. They've upped the game. It can keep upping the ante. Like, when does it stop, bro? It's getting crazy.
Well, to be honest, like to get a I just went to Barrett Jackson this year, and if you want a decent, like a 6.9, like you say if you want to get one built, but I mean you still might have to come back and do something to it. A 69 or 68 Camaro that's like at least in the game is going to run you about $160 to $180. That's like, where you can get in and drive. Not to say you still have to tweak it. Now, you're talking about like tweaking it, you're going to probably be up around 200, 220. And then you talking about supercharging, you're going to look at like 250 to 3. You know what I mean? It starts, it's just the game. It just keeps going. And then depending on what car, I mean, you have a Chevy is Corvette. You got, the Camaros and you got the Chevelles. And depending on which way you go, depends on, because the platform, it depends on what your budget is. Because everything's, and then if you go custom chassis, that adds, a whole nother level to game.
Yeah.
So
are you custom chassis? You have a Chevelle you're building, right? Right now, you're finishing.
Chevelle, I have the 72. It's a 72 with a 70 front clip. But my chassis, I got I bought one of those aftermarket kits from Summit and had it blocked. So I got like reinforced frame. I have a cross member welded in there.
Okay.
4-link. I did all new body bushings, and I'm also running E85 flex fuel. Okay. So my goal is like I'm like you, bro. I'm just so stressed. My goal is to have the car home by my birthday in May, and I've been working on that car it's been in the shop for the last 4 years.
Don't feel bad. I'm going on 7+. It's crazy. Some of it, I wouldn't say my fault, but some of it was like I kind of lost interest and wasn't pushing it. I was just kind of just dead space, just sitting there. I knew the owner, and I was bringing him hella business, so he wasn't sweating me to do anything to it. And I think he was using my car as a showpiece, as a selling piece. Like, look at this car I'm building, because I went in there just to get a supercharger. After SEMA, I wanted to upgrade a little more. I was like, man, I want to come correct. I wanted a supercharger, but to do a supercharger to a big block requires a shit ton of work, and I didn't know this. I could have just said, fuck that big block, put a supercharged LS with it, motor, and been done and been like everybody else. But nope, he talked me into supercharger. Then you got to do intake manifold. Then you got to do custom fuel lines. Then you got to I do the bottom end of the motor. Then we got to get a stronger tranny. Then it went from, I wasn't even mini tub. Then I mini tubbed it, Detroit Speed, front and back, got rid of all the stock Hotchkiss and stock subframe and DSC, front and back, got rid of the bigger brakes. I mean, dude, you know how it is. It's non-fucking stop, man. It never ends. It's never ending. Then do this, then do that. It's like, when does it stop? But I'm done this time. I want my car back. I want it dialed in. I'm praying that they dialed it in, and I just want to ride it, man. I want to ride it.
Yeah, I always say, my thing is like, I want my car to be able to drive from like West Coast to East Coast. So if I get my car and I want to drive, hypothetically to New York, or if I want to go to Vegas, or I want to go to Monterey, or I want to go, I don't give a damn, I want to go to Louisiana, I can get in my car and drive, not overheat, run the AC, and be cool, Yeah. And a lot of people build cars, and that's one thing. I've dealt with a lot of shops, just like you dealt with shops. And, people build cars, and a lot of times they get you in there with the car on the rack. You're like, damn, you did that. But once you start digging, you got to make sure, like, whoever you're dealing with, the car, the biggest thing is reliability and drivability. Yeah. Because you got cars that could drive from maybe, an hour from the house or 40 minutes from the house to a car show. But when you're talking about driving at 80, 90 miles per hour for 5 hours, that's a different kind of car.
Yeah. And, it's been so long, and the game has changed with gas and everything. And I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to do no long distance drives and that thing. And I built it for that, but I got a big block, man. It's gonna suck down gas with a Whipple.
What size gas tank?
It's from Rick's stainless gas tank, the biggest size I can get under there. I don't know how many.
So if
gas.
you got a fuel cell, you might be able to get. You might have what, a
It's not in the
16
trunk. It's not
gallon?
in the trunk. It's not in the trunk though, because I have beat in the trunk.
Oh, okay.
I don't like fuel cells. I want to slap in the trunk. I still want a little something. So I'm running 212s, 3 amps. Highs, mids in the front, or was it 2? Yeah, 3, because I have 6x9s, 212s in the rears, and I have the whole typical set of 6x9.
Well, if you run the E85 though, you probably get better because people don't realize E85 is cheap.
Cheaper, yeah. The only
Cheaper,
difference is it burns a lot. It burns a lot faster though.
It's a cleaner fuel. I mean, you get the app. You got because like my thing is, I want to be able to drive my Chevelle from Arizona to the quarantine cruise and back home.
That'd be good. That's
with
fun.
the AC going and stuff like that. So that's kind of like my goal. My car is to be able to put it on take road trips as a kid. I remember taking road trips with my grandmother and grandfather in the Cadillac and stopping at the little rest stop and eating food. So I want to be able to get in my car, me and the wife, take the puppies and roll, and do road trips.
That's fun, man, and I think people gotten away from that.
Yeah,
especially in a muscle car, you don't really see that. You see them on the road. Like I just went to LA 2 weeks ago, and I saw a bunch of lowriders on the trailer. Obviously, they're not going to drive, but you see that even muscle cars.
Yeah.
No one drives it, but I told myself I'm going to be able to drive my 69 one day from here to at least to LA. I know it's going to cost some gas. I'm going to have to pull over quite a few times, but it's going to make a road trip out of it.
That's the thing, though. When you do see one, like I know when I'm with my wife and I see an old school dude, I'm trying to follow. Who is that guy?
Me too.
You know what I mean? Because he's driving that old school. He's not trailering it.
No.
And obviously, if he's driving it, he's got a good builder.
Yep.
You know what I mean? His car is the builder. Because, a lot of, you and I both know SEMA, bro, a lot of those cars, they get them to SEMA, they haven't sorted them out, and, they barely make it through the parade. And before, they're not really dialed in. So,
no, that's how I was.
You know what I mean? It's just you get it there, you start it up, get it in the booth.
Yes.
And, it's different. So my thing is, my car, I want to beat it up, put miles on it. And so, I like to go on rallies, man. I want to be able to, pull up on some people in a newer car and they'd be like, man, what the hell, bro? You're on my ass,
Yeah. I'm like that. Actually, I'm like that with the Z, but it's a newer car. It's not considered a classic, but I know what you mean, man. You want to be able to drive it, have fun. People see you on the highway, not trailer. Because a lot of those cars that see them, let's be honest, those big $1 million builds, you ain't going to see them on the highway.
Ever. No.
From show to trailer. He might cruise around his neighborhood, depending on if the owner keeps it, but you're not going to see him on the highway. No way.
Have you ever been to, well, I know you've been to Good Guys, right?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times. The one right here. I didn't go to the last one. I was in LA that weekend, but it rained anyways. It rained out.
Yeah, it kind of messed it up. They rained on the Good Guys out here, too. What about, have you been to the Pomona Roadster show?
Never, man. I always wanted to go to it. I heard it's cool.
That's, as far as on the West Coast, if you're talking about the closest to the Detroit Autorama, it's probably the Roadster show, because I think in Detroit, you got the Autorama, is that also where they get the Riddler Award at? Is it Detroit?
Detroit's supposed to be the top dog.
Yeah.
Riddler's supposed to be the top award of them all. Because I saw Sean Riddler. And basically how they judge, because I was like, how the fuck do they know how to judge everybody? Basically, everybody starts at 100. Let's just say you're all even. Now they're nitpicking. And that's how they judge it. They're nitpicking. They find a little bit of dust, you didn't nitpick. They find a tiny little scratch in the corner, nitpick. Little something interior's not off your station, nitpick. They nitpick everything. That's how they determine the winner. It's different. It's not, they don't do it like you think oh, this is the baddest car. They nitpick them. I watched the whole show because that dude Steve from East Bay Muscle Cars, he uses a friend of mine on the San Bruno area, and this dude details them to death. And he flies with them to go to the shows to so they stay clean at the shows. He's got his private detailing. My boy does, and my boy Vinny. He's on that level.
I just watched. Didn't Kindig just won? Was it a Riddler?
He won the Riddler once with the '65 Impala.
No. Kindig just won his first one this year.
No. I'm thinking of Chip Foose. I'm tripping, bro.
Chip Foose won 4 of them. He's won 4.
He won one for sure.
Yeah, he's won, but Chip Foose didn't do it this year. But Kindig won for that C5 Corvette he did, but he did a hardtop. Did you see that? The coupe?
Uh-uh.
Oh,
He
bro.
won a Riddler, huh?
Dude, you got to watch it, man. He won a Riddler, and he said a guy made a smart comment like, "Oh man, congratulations on a Riddler. Lucky lucky Chip Foose wasn't in it this year." And he looked at him like, "What is that supposed to mean?" Because everybody looks like, "Oh man, blah blah blah," but the Corvette they did. I mean, dude, he said they kept it under wraps for 5 years, secret, and it's all aluminum unibody. And it's a one-off chassis. So he said all the suspension components. No, like the ones he's selling for 300,000-400,000 or fiberglass, but this one he did all aluminum because the guy said he had a client because you got like Riddler Award cars, bro, $1.5 million. You got to just be balling.
Easy. That's
$1.5 million.
Level 2 million. Some of them I seen some crazy.
Like crazy amount of money. And he had a client. He said, "Dude, I want to do a Riddler." And he's like, "Really?" And Ken Dick's like, "Okay." And he's like, "What do you think?" And he says, "I want to build this Corvette, blah, blah, blah." And he says, "Yeah, but nobody's won a Riddler with a fiberglass car." He says, "It's not going to be fiberglass." Ooh. And so they built an aluminum body coupe. And he said the suspension components are mounted to the engine chassis. So the oil pan, the control arms come off the oil pan.
Oh, wow.
Dude, you can't see nothing. It's all hidden. He said there's no front belt drive. It's reverse. So the water pump, the power steering is, and I think there's only one little belt. Everything else is electric.
Cool. What you mean electric? Like the motor?
So electric water pump, electric power steering pump, electric. So when the car runs, it's very minimal pulleys on the belt. So everything is pretty much electric. So there's just straight, you know what I mean? I haven't got a chance to see like any videos of the motor, but the way he described it and his story is pretty incredible. But yeah, man, when you look at those cars, to me, that's rolling art, bro.
That's next level, man.
You know what I mean? Because before I would spend money on a Bugatti, I would go try to find somebody who sold a Riddler car.
You're right. Because, I mean, they're spending as much money on a Riddler car what a Bugatti costs. What a Bugatti's going for, like 2-3 million right now?
2-3 million. I mean, but like you said, I mean, it's a rich guy's car. It's a different type of uber rich. Like the guy who's doing a Riddler, he probably had the Ferrari in his collection. But at heart,
yeah,
he's a car guy because only a car guy would understand a 5-year bill that costs over $1 million.
Yeah. It takes a lot of patience. We got to be ready. This is a long term. This is a marathon. This isn't going to happen right away, no matter how much money you throw at it. Because there's so many. One thing I learned about these cars in these SEMA builds, and when you're trying to go on that level, like again, my buddy Steve from East Bay Muscle Cars, he competed in that Barrett Jackson Cup to try to win an award over there. He didn't win it. I forgot which car won, but he told me, and this is what's crazy, bro. Like if you want one-off shit, I have to experiment. I can't get it right because there's no skim, there's no blueprint, there's no nothing. The blueprint is I'm doing as we go, and sometimes I have to go back and redo it, and that costs a lot of time and labor, and the customer has to pay for that. He's like, I'm not coming out of pocket for that. That's the level of car you want. You have to accept the fact that I might have to redo that same thing 5 times to get it right, and that's crazy. That's next level. You gotta have deep pockets to do that kind of stuff.
Well, it's too, like you said, your Camaro, right? And you said you had Hoskins and these aftermarket parts on, and then you went with Detroit Speed, and that changed the ergonomics of the car. So now you got to change other aspects of the car to match that. But what's cool about the custom car world is that you have all these different vendors, and it's like putting together a Lego set because you take this guy's chassis. Or maybe this guy's front end, and you add these steering components, or you get somebody who has their own proprietary steering, their whole setup, like a like a Roadster shop, or Art Orson, or a Schwartz Performance, and they got everything there, and you just drop the engine and the tranny in there, and the car is done. As far as chassis, and then you got people who take the old chassis and they add stuff to make it perform like a new chassis.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many different ways, and some people are like, that's what I'm saying. Like when you're in the world we're in, and you start talking about building cars and adding components, bro, it's like you go to SEMA, there's vendors like, you never heard, I mean, all kind of crazy stuff, man. You can just go, you can go off the chains, man.
Yeah, you could. You could. I always say if I won the Powerball, bro, oh my goodness, what would I do? I'd for sure find me some land. I'd for sure give me a warehouse, and I'm filling that warehouse up with I'm probably gonna buy mostly built, probably not be building some, but I'm sure along the way I'll be like, you know what? Let's build one. Let's build one off. Let me see what I can do.
So what is that? What are we looking at as far as and I know you can't tell me exact dates, but what are we looking at as far as timeline to get your Camaro home?
Well, this I do know. My dash is finally done. The gauges just came in. So the trunk, the system's all in. So basically they got us just slap everything back together. And where we coming into April? I'm guessing I might be somewhere. When's your birthday?
May 10th.
I might be close to you. I might be somewhere before, close to you. We're close. See, here's the thing is, I traded a '69 Camaro or signed it over to the owner of the shop to finish that car. So my car's taking up a spot. They're not making no money. Basically, it's a clean slate. So they got urgency. They got to get that slot to make money. So, but the guy who's kind of managing the projects, my boy, he's making sure like he's not glazing over anything. Like I told him, please don't glaze over it because I've already waited this long. I want to make sure I'm leaving there dialed in. I don't want, here's your car back and just leave. No, I want them dialed in. So I'm close. So now they're going to do my dash. I fixed all the little speakers. I had to get a new deck, just little knickknack stuff, new 6x9s. So everything's in. So it's like, this is the most complete I've seen it since I've had it in there.
So are they finishing up the wiring right now?
I believe the wiring is done. They have to do the dash though. That's next. That shouldn't take too long with the gauges.
Okay. Because I know like the wiring is done, but they still got to finish like wiring everything to where to fire it up, like connecting the AC, connecting all the electronics and all that stuff. And,
Gotta do that.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at the getting the electronics done, and then what the exhaust system, which is pretty easy once it's on the ground, and then just tuning from there, just getting the car tuned.
Yeah, and it's always the end is the most tedious shit because you got to go through all like troubleshooting, because I want them to troubleshoot. I want them to beat on it. I want them to beat on the dyno. I told the dudes I want you to drive it up and down the highway. I want to make sure she's good. If something breaks, I want it to break on you guys, not on me.
Yeah.
I want them to come out of pocket.
Yeah, have that thing ready. I mean, it'd be nice, bro, to have it for the summer and be able to hit the quarantine cruise for July, you know what I mean, or something,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, that'd be dope. That'd be a little dream come true, like a little small goal, not a dream come true, but like something to be out there with. I vision that. I took my ZL1, that was fun, but I'm like, I would love to have my '69 Camaro out here.
It's just like you said, when I go as a spectator, I'm like, man, I wish I had my car, man, because it's different, It's just different.
It's the love of the game,
Is there a fantasy, like, if you could pick top three, I mean, outside of your Camaro, I know that's your baby, but if you had three cars that you can pick that you would want to pro tour, I mean, like you said, money's not really the object. You're balling, you're doing your thing, and you got like a vision in your mind, and you're looking at cars here and there. What would be your top three cars that you would want to build with your own flavor to them?
That's a good one because I'm also a Mopar guy. I like the Mopars. 68 Charger.
Now, would you go speed core?
What you mean?
Dude, I would, when you said Mopar, I would get in line at speed core. Now, speed core, those are the guys that are seen. Remember, they built the carbon fiber 68, 69 Chargers?
Yes.
With 1,000 horsepower for Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
They're on my list of when I get my money right, I'm going to put down a deposit with those guys.
Yeah. 70 or 71 CUDA. Maybe more like a 70 CUDA because it reminds me of the 69 Camaro, the body. Just a little short.
Yeah.
I already know what kind of motor. I would do like instead of, the 426 Hemi, I would do a 526 Hemi with a fucking supercharger. Big block supercharger, baby. So I got that in mind. So those two. And what would be my third? My third. '61 Impala, low rod, baby, supercharged LT4, some shit like that. Sitting low,
Okay.
22s.
What chassis?
With that one,
Yeah. Would you
that's
go Art Morrison, or would you go Roadster Shop, or would you go?
Art Morrison.
Okay.
Roadster Shop's a little extreme. It's cool and all, but I would do more Art Morrison.
Now, did you see what Roadster Shop did for Joe Rogan's
Oh yeah,
Camaro?
oh yeah. Oh, you mean his Camaro and his Cuda?
Oh
Both of those
man,
things nasty.
vicious, vicious, bro.
I love
I
that
think
he's a car. I love that he's a muscle car guy, and he speaks on it highly. Like he loves his muscle car, bro. He brags about, not brags like, oh, look at me, but he brags like how much joy and passion it brings him.
but he's a driver though. He likes to drive.
Mhm.
So when you talk about muscle car, you're talking about analog. You're talking about no traction control, no ABS. Raw, just brute. You got to build it. It's a brute, man.
It's a brute. He even has a Porsche, like some kind of old school Porsche that's a brute. He talks about it.
Yeah. He's definitely he's a real car guy. I mean, I respect Joe Rogan for that.
Yes, he is. He ain't no faker. He doesn't go and I'm gonna just buy it built and he knows his shit too. He knows exactly. He explained it on his show exactly what's under the hood, exactly what's suspension and everything. Like he broke it down. Like, hey, he's a true car guy. He knows his shit. He's not some rich guy who just, oh, I see a nice car, like I'm just gonna buy it. Doesn't know the specs or nothing. He knows all the specs to it.
Yeah. He's in, I've heard him on a couple of interviews, and he's had some pretty. Steve Strope, I think, did a car for him, and a couple other
old school Steve Strope. Yep.
Yeah, he did.
He did a Cuda originally.
With a Steve Strope or with a Troy Trepagna. The Troy Trepagna did a car for him. I know he had a couple old school builders, but he's built some sick shit. Remember he had the Cuda Sick Fish?
Yeah. And then he lost it. Then he
got it back. Roadster Shop redid it.
Yep. He bought it. He found it, bought it back, and Roadster Shop redid it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Steve Strope. I think it was. I seen that show, man. I don't know why I can't remember. He was.
I want to say I can't remember either who did it the first time, but Roadster Shop did it the second time, and it's a monster now.
Monster. You can hear it. There's a video on YouTube. Even I reposted the video on he showed it on his Joe Rogan show when they were driving it, the Roadster Shop doing it. Man, it sounded nasty. And then you had Joey Diaz like, that's what motherfucking American muscles about.
Yeah.
Fuck a Prius. I was like, oh, that's my guy. He's like, fuck all American right there. And that got me juiced. Like I just started vision. I can't wait to get in my 69 Camaro because I'm gonna open.
I know. I flashed back to when I did have my Chevelle home, and this guy in LA, you always get people when you got a car that looks like something, people try to want to race you. And I remember this guy pulled up in the damn bike lane, and he was in the Porsche Cayman, and I'm in the Chevelle, and I'm like, this dude, man. I said, he looked at me like he's gonna cut me off when the light turns green. So I smashed on him, and he's like, and there was a car parked up here, so he had to get behind me. Then he tried to go around, and I'm just like, I wasn't even getting on it, and because I had the supercharger on there, and then he tried to get up, and I just, and he's like, what the hell? Then we got to the next light. He's like, dude, what's up in there, man? What's up with that car? Because, they see an old-ass car. They don't know what you're working with.
Nah, man. Nope, they don't know. We're different there, man. We're different kills. Like I said, when I get mine back, I'm hoping. I don't know if I'm going to keep it there, but I just want to see on the dyno 1,000 horsepower to the rear wheels. I'll be happy with that. Just show me, then we can detune it a little bit, whatever.
Are you gonna track it or do any special events with it?
That's a good question. I always vision going to Laguna, but they be hating on the noise. I got Black Widows, bro. I think that thing won't pass the noise. What you call the decibels? It won't pass because they're very strict up there in Laguna.
Oh, Laguna, are they? Because they have the vintage racing up there, and those cars are loud as shit.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of it, bro. Those snobby rich neighbors are pissed. Because there's a video circulating, man, that got me juiced. It was a 69 Camaro on the track. And, bro, I don't know who this dude was. He was hanging with a Ferrari. Like he wasn't beating him, but he was all over him. Like, whoa, this dude's a fucking driver with a 69 Camaro red one. Sick. Dude, that bar.
It wasn't Big Red, was it?
No, it wasn't Big Red.
Yeah, because Big Red has smashed a lot of people.
Oh, he smashed him, especially at Silver State in Nevada.
Yep. That's what I want to do. So I built the Chevelle to do Silver State. So my transmission, I got a 4L 4L60E, but I did billet gearing because I wanted to do that event. and that's on my bucket list is to get that little badge that you did the 100. You averaged 100 miles per hour for 100 miles.
That's dope. That's dope. I want to do something like that. One of my like goals is to do is the Mojave Mile. I want to be part of the 200 club. You get a you can do it in a mile or in a mile and a half. I'd probably pick a mile and a half, but I got the cage, I got the horsepower. I don't know about the aerodynamics. Can it break 200? I don't know. I mean, he broke 250, I believe, with his car. I got the horsepower to push me over 200.
Do you think you would have to have like some serious downforce on the back at a wing?
I don't. That's a very
because of the lift. Because I think when Big Red did it, didn't they add a big wing in the back to kind of give it the downforce?
He did. He had a big wing. And eventually, for many years, I followed Big Red. I don't personally know him, but we've met. I see him. I think he still follows my car page. I follow him. And for a long time, he was anti-supercharger. He was anti this big block. His engine builder was old school. We'll beat him on just pure power. But eventually, he crossed over and went with that big ass. Not a supercharger. What's the other? A Pro Charger, that monster one that sits in the middle.
Yeah.
That's when he was really killing everybody. That's when he got to 250. There's no way he's doing the all motor. He needed that charger, that extra boost.
As far as aftermarket tuners, what when you think of aftermarket tuner, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Aftermarket what?
Tuner. Like a tuner.
Oh, aftermarket tuner. Who's my first person to come to mind?
I'll tell you who mine is. Right.
Aftermarket tuner.
Hennessey.
Yeah, he's legit. He gets hated on a lot, but that dude is killing the game. That
Yeah,
I almost took my Z01 to him. I almost had it shipped out to Texas.
Because remember when he was doing the CTSVs, the ZL1s. He has the Exorcist. Remember?
Yep, 1,000 horsepower. I think I don't know if it's 1,000 to the motor, the tires, but it's nasty.
Yeah.
He's
still the game.
Class is good, and he built his own car. He built his own.
Yeah. The Venom, the F5, and he did initially. He had another car before that, but he has that F5 that's right now. It just set a lap record at the what do you call it? Circuit of America, that track out in Texas.
Yeah.
How much he just set a lap record?
He broke like 275 or 276. He was bragging about he can beat a Bugatti or some shit.
Yeah, that car is. I mean, dude, he's got it dialed in, man.
Yeah, he does.
He's got it dialed in.
I don't know why that didn't cross my mind. Hennessey, he's killing the game. He knows a lot of hate, knows a lot of rumors that back then he was taking people's money, not doing the work, and this and that. But I don't know. He never went to jail. He never got in prison. So obviously,
and somebody told me they had a car with him, and they said it blew up the motor, and he actually replaced everything and gave him a temporary while they were fixing that car. So I haven't heard any dirt about him. I mean, as far as it seems like he keeps his word.
Yeah. Again, when I was told that, I'm like, well, if he's doing dirty, and he's taking people's money and not doing the work, he's going to get busted. That, one way or another, nothing ever happened to him. I mean, he's killing the game. People are still going to him. He's still building cars. But again, I was close to sending my Camaro out to him too, to turn on my Z01, because I was like, I like what this dude does. He's a nut with the horsepower.
Yeah, he's definitely at the top of my list when I could think of like cars I want to have built, like especially modern muscle. He has that game down.
Yes, he does.
Well, shit, man, we got to
Who else is a good tuner? I'm trying to think. You got me off guard on that one. Who else do I know is a good tuner? I'm blank. Damn.
You got Hennessey, you got
Why am I drawing a blank on this as far as tuners go?
Most of the tuners now you see like a lot of Euro cars.
Yeah.
American cars, usually you have builders. I mean, you got a late model racecraft.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of big stuff with the ZR1s. They're doing, 1,500 horsepower packages, 2,000 horsepower. And then what's his name? You have the first one is a Carvo. They do the Vipers. You know what I'm talking about? Those guys out of Texas or Colorado. They're killing it. They got the Calvo or something like that.
I heard about it.
They're doing a Vipers, 2,500, 3,000 horsepower Vipers.
It's insane. And the game is insane.
You have there's one other one too. What's his name? Uh they do a lot of superchargers. I forgot the name of them, but they're a lot of these guys go to the Texas Mile.
Yeah. Exactly.
TK2000, yeah, they do a lot of. I'm drawing a blank right now too. There's a couple other tuners like I follow that build some really sick shit because like you said, at the end of the day, if somebody who could build like a good car is somebody who built it like 3 or 4 years ago, and the car has at least 5,000 miles, that means they've been driving it. But when you see a car and it's like 5-year build, 6-year build, and only has 1,200 miles, it ain't been tested.
Mm-mm. I mean, I've driven my when I had an apartment in Vegas. I drove my Z01 to my apartment a few times there and back. I've driven it to LA a few times there and back. I went to the quarantine cruise, so they did it right. They built it to drive. I'm a driver, man. I like to drive my shit.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. But shit, bro, I look forward to doing this podcast. Hopefully we can get it in once a week.
Yeah,
and just tap into all kind of different questions. Yeah. You guys out there watching, if you have questions about the muscle car scene, different cars you built, different shops, different stories, leave a message, man. Leave a comment. Yes. We would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, so we'll have each other's social media in the description. And tap in with us.
Tap in, man. We're gonna let you guys know all the sauce, from the good, bad, the ugly, up and down. We both have experience in this whole world of muscle car building.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We don't want to give you guys too much on the first one, but we got a lot to talk about, man.
Going forever. We'll be here all night, but nope. Save it for the next one.
All right, y'all. Big Herc916.
Peace out. Esco Elite Mindset. Let's go.
All right.
See you.